Hi, you're listening to Kate Palmer, and today I'm going to show you a card I've made using two of the new colours from Lindy's Stamp Gang. This card uses two of the new Starburst sprays, Fuzzy Navel Peach and My Mojito Green. Now these two were part of a set developed specifically for the Shabby Chic kind of look. To begin with, all I've done is use the Fuzzy Navel Peach and squirt it onto a piece of white cardstock and let that dry. Complicated, that one, hey? And then I've done the same thing with My Mojito Green. But what I've done so that it had a little bit of variation is I've also just sprayed a little of the creme brulee cream onto the background as well. So I've let those two pieces dry, and these are the colours they've turned out to be. The Fuzzy Navel Peach is a lovely pale orange colour with sort of a pale champagne-y orangey glimmer. And the My Mojito Green is almost a pale olive colour. It's really pretty. I've then cut to size a panel for the background of my card from the Fuzzy Navel Peach and overlaid two of the My Mojito Green panels on there. The pattern comes from the Spanish Moss Green embossing powder, and I've used one of my fabulous Judikins stamps, and this one is called the Arabesque Background, and that's what I've used to make the pattern. The next step was to stamp this beautiful image from Sweet Pea, and this one's called Purple Woods, onto a piece of white Express It blending card, which I've then coloured with my Copic markers. I've punched out a frame to go around the image from the Fuzzy Navel Peach cardstock using my Spellbinders Classic frame here. That's the Spellbinders Classic frame, and I've used the large one here. I've mounted my Copic image into the frame, and then I've used the Spiced Marmalade and Dried Marigold Distress inks just to pick out some of the embossed areas on the frame, just to give it a bit of a variation in colour. Now, still sticking with these same two ink pads, I've then coloured a piece of white ribbon. I've just dragged this along, spritzed it with water, and then dried it off with a heat gun so it stays nice and flat. Now I've swapped back to the Fuzzy Navel Peach in the Lindy's Stamp Gang Starburst spray, and I've grabbed some of these great roses from Wild Orchid Crafts, and I've just spritzed them with the Fuzzy Navel Peach. So you can see how pretty and glimmery these look. I needed to create a few more coordinating embellishments. So I've used the My Mojito Green just by itself this time and sprayed this beautiful piece of lace. So I have a coordinating piece of lace, and I've also sprayed it on this cute little vine just so I have some embellishments to go with the flowers on the card. Alright, so I'm going to use all of these things that I've created with those two colours and put the card together, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I'm done. This is my finished Shabby Chic card, done with the Fuzzy Navel Peach and the My Mojito Green from Lindy's Stamp Gang. I absolutely love how the colours turned out. I'm not a real fan of orange or peach, but on this card it looked really pretty. So you can see the backgrounds there that I've created with all that beautiful sparkle. And to that I have added some of these gorgeous little flowers from Wild Orchid Crafts. This nice little leaf trailing vine, it's actually a piece of ribbon which I've sprayed with the My Mojito Green, and you can see I've added a couple of those little leaves up near the flowers. Now this has actually dried a much lighter colour than the lace, which I've sprayed with exactly the same product, but as you can see it's taken up the colour more. I've dyed the ribbon with the Distress ink pads, and then you can see that beautiful embossing on the green My Mojito background there. I've got my Copic image in the middle. So you can see how beautifully those flowers have taken the Lindy's Stamp Gang Starburst spray all on the flowers, And to that I've just added a tiny little bit of crystal glitter. So up close you can see what a beautiful colour match that embossing powder is for the My Mojito Green. And I just had to add a couple of little crystals to the ribbon there just to finish it off. Did a little bit green on that. You can see the gorgeous shimmer on the lace. It's retained the shimmer of the fabric, and then the Lindy's Stamp Gang Starburst spray over the top has added a little bit of sparkle to that beautiful sunny texture. I love how this leafy vine turned out. I've actually left it unglued apart from the top and the bottom so that it's got that sort of really nice, I don't know, kind of free form shape. It just looks so much prettier that way. Now I've been practicing with my colouring. I've just done my Copic intermediate class and I learned a few new techniques there. Might take me a little while to get the hang of, not so much the technique, it's really wrapping my brain around the ideas behind them. The 3 techniques that I'm working on in this card are, firstly, not all of your lines have to be blended. Difficult, I know. Secondly is using some of the toner grey or any of the greys for more depth to the colour. And the third one is using blue violets as a shadow. Now you can see where I've used this around hair and face. It's still quite new to me and it's still looking quite stark, but when you do view this from further away it looks really good. So I've used that same principle as you move down the body, and you can see where I've got those blue violet shadows. And lastly, the little cat is go over my Copic colouring with a white Prismacolor pencil, just so that it had that textured, fine and soft look that I was after. So I really hope you like it, and that this sneak peek of 2 of the newest Lindy's Stamp Gang colours has been interesting for you as it was for me. Bye!